Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me is Shail Bhatnagar. Well, it's a new week of trade and it's also Janmashtami today. So here's wishing all of you a very happy Janmashtami. Well, on Friday, we actually saw the Nifty trade in just a very narrow band, a 70-point range. But definitely it managed to eke out 7 straight day of gains to sustain above the mark of 24,800. And the index now remains around 250 points away from its record high levels of 25,078. Now, for the week gone by, both the Nifty and the Nifty Bank ended with gains of 1% each. And now, as we enter this new week, we will have to see how the Nifty and the Nifty Bank trade in the F&O expiry week and also how they react to cues from Jackson Hole Symposium meeting, where Jerome Powell also did give hints of the upcoming rate cuts. Powell said, "The time has come for policy to adjust. The direction of travel is clear and the timing and pace of rate cuts will depend on incoming data, evolving outlook and the balance of risks." And this is probably the highlight of US Fed Chair Jerome Powell's speech at the symposium, and that is exactly what the street also probably wanted to hear. But the big question is, has this statement got enough for the markets to propel higher to retest the record high levels or not? Good morning to all our viewers and good morning, Shail.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We start Monday on a very strong footing as far as global and overseas cues are concerned, and this is also the last week of August's very painful F&O expiry, where we've seen a lot of pain being absorbed by local indices such as Nifty on various issues. This week is heavily laden with events. Sakshi's kicked out the major one, which is the reaction to Wall Street's now definitive rate cut in September. The only thing now is whether it's going to be a 0.25 percentage point cut or a half a percentage point cut. That remains to be seen, and it will be clear in September. Now let's look at our cues, and we'll start as usual with our daily screen of the Nifty, which is right there in front of you. And you'll notice that over the last 7 sessions, the Nifty has surged to the extent of 800 points from a low of 24,074 to its close on Friday, which is 24,823. Now it is just 177 points away from 25,000 and about 1 percentage point away from all-time high. Given the background that we have, most probably you will see this happening somewhere between now and 31st of August because the momentum is pretty strong. But one must look at this event with a pinch of salt, and that pinch of salt is that not only have we rallied for 7 sessions, we are also up for the 3rd week in a row. So more or less the rate cut that Wall Street was talking about is already priced into equities. Should they go higher? Yes, then we will follow the trend. But this is something that needs to be kept in mind, that at 25,000 level on the Nifty, there is very heavy resistance coming in from option writers, and that needs to be kept in mind when you look at trades beyond 24,900, 24,950. We'll keep this in mind, as also there's a very strong support for bulls at 24,800, 24,750 and 24,700 as far as option charts are concerned. Be that as it may, let's look at some other things that are happening in the market which will impact today's trade. So a gap up, if it is coming from the GIFT Nifty at about 60-65 points, needs to be absorbed. We'll watch the first 15 minutes of trade on the Nifty in particular, and then take a view whether it's headed for 24,900 or 24,950, or it is sort of ebbing and consolidating at current levels. As I have mentioned earlier, August's F&O expiry ends on Thursday, and predictably there is a major event also on Thursday, which is the annual general meeting of Reliance Industries that will start at 2 p.m. on Thursday. Remember, over the past year, Reliance has added 21% to its existing tally of 3,000 rupees, and the AGM will be watched for announcements on expectations of the IPO of Reliance Jio as well as Reliance Retail. Between now and Thursday, Reliance is likely to be strong, and of course help the Nifty. Remember, this is the second heaviest weighted counter in the Nifty, and even a 1 percentage point move on Reliance counts very strongly for the index. The BankX and the Nifty Mid Cap Select Index have their monthly expiry today. Keep these indices in mind. And given the background of what has happened on the US markets, we are fortunate that at 9:40 a.m. today, the RBI Governor, Mr. Shaktikanta Das, will be making a speech. Let us see what his reaction is to what has happened in Jackson Hole by the US Fed chair. That will also be an important indicator for the market. Two good news is coming in for BEL and Trent shareholders. These stocks will now be a part of the Nifty from September 30th. A lot of quantitative studies show that inflow of $500 million and $450 million between BEL and Trent will be seen somewhere around September 30th. I'll just give you an idea. The PCR will fire a long-term chart of BEL. This is India's foremost defense producer, up 130%, and Trent. Sakshi and I have discussed this many times. Over the last 12 months, Trent has appreciated 245%. Also, there are changes in the FTSE All World Index. Many stocks are coming in. The four that come to my mind are HUDCO, Cochin Shipyard, and Bank of Maharashtra. So these are the things that I'm looking forward to. A flat to consolidating trade on the Nifty, and of course it will be stock specific action on Monday. Let's hope for the best to come. Sakshi.
Right, so let's look at the global cues as well. Remember, Powell's speech was definitely cheered by the Wall Street. The Dow Jones rallied over 450 points, as did the S&P 500. The Nasdaq Composite surged by over 1.5%. All the three benchmark indices on the Wall Street ended the week with gains. S&P 500 is just now 35 points away from hitting its previous record high, while Dow Jones is away by 200 points. Remember, Brent crude was trading higher by about 0.5% at $79.5 a barrel because of the geopolitical risks. Gold was higher by about 0.09% at $25.14 an ounce as well. Overseas investors have remained net buyers of the Indian equities on Friday for the second straight day, and foreign portfolio investors have bought stocks worth about 1944 odd crore rupees. And when we look at the domestic institutional investors, they have stayed net buyers for the 15th session. They have bought equities worth about 2,896 odd crore rupees. Following the cues in the Wall Street, we've seen that the Asian markets have crept cautiously higher on Monday morning. We've also seen that the dollar and the bond yields were also on wane ahead of the inflation data that investors hope will now pave the way for cuts in both US and the Europe area as well. Asia Pacific markets did show us some mixed action. So you can see the Nikkei eased by about almost 1% in the early morning trading action. We've also seen the Kospi down by about 0.07%. It's the Hang Seng which has bounced back 1.2% higher in trade, and the Shanghai was absolutely flat in trade with a negative bias. The Gift Nifty is actually indicating a positive start of the Indian markets at around 24,900 odd levels. We'll have to see how it pans out going forward from here. Remember, when we talk about stocks, some of the stocks have been highlighted by Shail already. The latest round of the Nifty 50 rejig will keep all its focus on Trent, which is already a multi-bagger, up 20 times from COVID lows, and that will be the latest entrant into the index, along with straight run Bharat Electronics, and both these names will be replacing Divis Laboratories and LTI Mindtree, which will be moved back to Nifty Next 50 or the junior index. So that's something that you need to keep an eye out on. Remember, there's also the latest addition to the FTSE All World Index. That's included some stocks like Bharat Dynamics, Bank of Maharashtra, Cochin Shipyard, Central Bank of India. You also have Escorts, Kubota, Hitachi, HUDCO, KEI Industries. So those are some of the stocks that will also see some reaction. Among others, within news, you will see that KEC International will remain focused. The company has received a new order worth about 1,079 odd crores. We've also seen Religare Enterprises, the Enforcement Directorate official officials have carried out searches at the premises of Rashmi Saluja, Executive Chairperson, Nitin Agarwal, the Group CFO as well, Nishant Singhal, the General Counsel, so some such executives of the company. Lemon Tree Hotels will be in focus. The company has signed a license pact for 175 room property in Surat. IDFC will be in focus. The company has received an income tax refund of 203 crores. Cyient will be in focus. The company has incorporated a subsidiary named Cyient Semiconductors. Symphony will be in focus. The company's arm has incorporated a China-based unit of GSK Appliances as well. Uno Minda will be in focus. The JV of the company Tokai Rika Minda has announced opening of a new manufacturing plant in Rajasthan, and the plant will have an annual production capacity of 3.84 lakh units per month. And we'll also see that the Dr. Reddy's stock will be in focus. The US FDA has concluded product-specific pre-approval inspection at the manufacturing facility in Andhra Pradesh. It has issued a Form 483 with 3 observations. So some negative reaction could be seen here, although the stock was flattish on Friday. Karur Vysya Bank will be in focus. SBI Mutual Funds has received an RBI approval to acquire about a 9.9% stake in the bank. And Ambuja Cements will also be in focus. GQG Partners has increased the stake to 2.5%. Buying another 1.1% stake via block deals worth 1679 odd crore rupees. They've bought the stock at 625 rupees per share. So some of these stocks I'm keeping an eye out on, Shell.
These, ladies and gentlemen, are important developments, especially the changes in the index, L&T Mindtree, and of course Divi's Labs are bidding goodbye. Remember, Divi's came into the Nifty somewhere in 2022 when the COVID pandemic was at its peak, and L&T Mindtree made an entry almost last year. So we'll be bidding them goodbye. Now, 2 things will happen. BEL and Trent will see a lot of ETFs as well as buying by all those mutual funds locally and globally that track the Nifty as their benchmark. That doesn't mean that you have to step and trade into these stocks today. Remember, Trent especially has appreciated dramatically. Sakshi and I started discussing this stock somewhere like 1800 rupees about 1 year ago, and from then on it's just had a one-way journey. So these changes are known to market participants who track quantitative changes in stock prices, so you needn't hurry into these stocks. In any case, the changes will be dramatic when it comes to September 30th. 2 things I'd also like to mark out. I'll request the PCR to fire the chart of crude oil prices. Now, because of increased tensions between Israel and Hezbollah, which has fired rockets towards Israel, crude oil prices have moved up for the last 3 sessions in a row to somewhere around $75 to $76 a barrel. Remember, when we shut shop on Friday, crude was trading at lows of January 15th. So it was a 7-month low on crude oil prices. They have bounced from there. That essentially means 2 positive developments. One, for ONGC and Oil India, which are dependent positively on a rise in crude oil prices, and 2, OMCs, who have had a wonderful rally. HPBP, IOC have surged dramatically over the last 2 weeks or so. They will see some kind of profit booking. And again, gold, it's now consolidating well above $2,500 an ounce, and that's good news for gold financing companies such as Mannapuram and of course Muthoot Finance. I believe Mr. Vineet Bojlinkar, Head of Research at Ventura Securities, is with us. Good morning to you, Vineet, and a very warm welcome. How do you see this changes flagged by the US Federal Reserve on Friday evening impacting sentiment on the Lal Street?
So I believe that the time has come for a low interest rate regime and high inflation to continue. And that can have initially a euphoric sentiment, but harming the structure of the market globally going ahead. Because we are going to see these bouts of inflation, deflation kind of keep playing up as you raise and lower the rates. So what is very clear is that the elasticity of the dollar to create incremental GDP globally is turned plastic, and now every incremental fund flow that you inject into the system, it is going to cause a lot of inflation. So it's going to be a very very difficult environment for people to play in the markets, and the best strategy would be to you know uh, keep reducing your risk, get more into value, get more into stocks which are in momentum but having lower valuations, and keep reducing your risk in that fashion.
Very good morning to you, Vineet. Well, I was about to ask you the key strategy, a part of which you've already answered. But, of course, in the recent bull run, we've actually seen a lot of people make a lot of money already. Now, I think the biggest confusion they have is that would it be wise for them to withdraw a decent part of their portfolio and then continue to participate within the rotating sectors, or should they continue with their SIP strategy as they have been doing and no need for profit booking? How are you looking at the current environment?
See, the market has got very expensive, and from a portfolio point of view, wherever there is a high valuation or you question the valuation justification, I think it would make more sense to exit those markets, because when they fall off, you will not know what hit you. So there are some very very strong names which have fallen 30-35% over the last month, and because of the springing new highs every day in the market, their portfolio erosion, if you were in those stocks, has been somewhat camouflaged. So you have to take this into account, because you have seen a tearaway rally, and if you get into the market at current levels, you could easily lose around 30 to 40%. uh, I think that these stocks may, again defy gravity and move up a bit. But, once the buying is over with, they're going to come off. And I think some of these counters belong to the classic defense, railway, and the EPC space. And hence, I believe that, these spaces are best avoided.
Vineet, let's look at another part of the market, which is the PSU banking theme as well as the private banking theme. In any case, there is a lot of evidence showing that they have a terrible time raising CASA, raising inexpensive deposits, because money is moving into equity markets from investors and citizens of all hues and colors. Given the fact that you say rate cuts will now happen in the domestic market as well, do you think the how should I say, the investment thesis for both private and PSU banks now gets vitiated further?
See, I believe, you need to look at it as the domino effect of what happened to HDFC Bank. When HDFC Bank and HDFC merged, there was an artificial uh, demand created for banking, for deposits, and the ramp up in the deposits of HDFC Bank has actually created a kind of a situation where all the banks have to compete with them. I believe that the strategy of HDFC Bank to slow down their advances growth, uh, and come to a certain level of normalcy in terms of credit deposit ratio, which should happen by September or definitely by the December quarter, spells good times to come for the banking segment as a whole. So I believe that private sector banks and especially PSU banks are offering you fantastic valuations if you are willing to be patient, not get carried away by the tearaway bull market, and you will have a lot of alpha created for you over the next 6 months.
Well, Vineet, apart from that, I also wanted to ask you, how are you looking at the new age internet space now? Are these throwing any interesting names even beyond Zomato? Of course, Zomato is something that everybody has talked about and seen the kind of doubling of effect within the stock price have been seen in this entire year. But are there more interesting names now coming to the fore? Would you look at Nykaa favorably after the recent, bounce that we've seen?
So, there are a couple of things which work very well for the internet stocks, if I may say so, or the digital stories. So, one is the profligacy of states to impress every voter and catch their attention with dole out of funds, and also the fact that interest rates are now coming off, which makes consumption a pretty attractive theme. So, I believe that all internet stocks do well when the interest rate cycle is on the lower side. A lot of money flows into them. And for that matter, I think Paytm, Nykaa, PB Fintech, uh, and all the other names look very, very interesting place.
Given the slightly, let me just use a conservative word here, Vineet, flattish commentary that you offer for the markets in the near term, where are you putting in your money and what are you advising your investors to do?
No, I'm not offering a flattish commentary. I'm asking you to be anchored. It's very important to get anchored in, especially these times, because the geopolitical whirlwinds, if I may call it, or the tornadoes which are gathering steam. So if you see the urgency with which uh, the whole world is getting engulfed. So can you see how Bangladesh has been literally reduced to a war-torn country in a matter of weeks? It's not even a matter of months or years. In a matter of weeks, they've gone from a stable uh, country to a country which is completely war torn, with so many players at work out there that nobody knows what really happened. Other such storms are now brewing up in Southeast Asia. Indonesia is for one which could get politically impacted, and there could be one of the other countries which border China on the south side, which could also be swamped by this. So, we need to be careful with the way the world is moving around. And while we are oblivious to the fact that despite every neighbor of us, each and without, so all the countries that are in our neighborhood are completely swamped with, some kind of insurgency that is playing out. In fact, the level of insurgency that is there in Pakistan, if you were to see, it is so high that you should actually keep your fingers crossed that India has been a relatively calmer market. So keeping the bull market intact and keeping all these geopolitical events that are happening around us, it obviously makes a lot of sense to be in value rather to be in momentum. And if you want to chase momentum, you do it with keeping in mind the valuations that you are paying for. There are enough and more stories in the market which are very attractive, high growth stories, which offer very good value at current levels, and we should be in them. So one of the favorite theme of mine is going to be consumption, as I told you, because of falling interest rates and the money doleouts that we have seen from the various governments, state as well as center.
Okay. Another stock that I wanted to ask you, Vineet, about is Reliance Industries. The focus will again be on the company and the group with the AGM coming in this week itself. Again, all buzz around whether the IPOs of Geo of retail will be announced or not, a trajectory will be announced or not. There are brokerage houses reports like Bernstein which have upgraded the targets to 34.40 on the stock. How are you really looking at Reliance Industries as of now at 3,000?
I think there's a lot of fatigue with the price currently. And, I would not want to So, if you were to take a bet between Reliance and Adani, I would rather go with Adani than with Reliance as a group, because I believe that, they're very well grounded. They have created a lot of liquidity. They have adequate, negative news already factored in, and the bullishness or the growth story is absolutely intact. So I believe that those stocks give you more value for money than being in Reliance, which seems to be a very fatigued stock.
Okay, coming back to your consumption theme, Vineet, what has happened is now that rural growth in two-wheelers has exceeded urban growth. That is the first time that has happened since COVID. How do you see that impacting on two-wheelers against the backdrop of a stellar listing of Ola Electric? I believe you were one of those very, very few people who put their money where their mouth is at 78 rupees and enjoyed that rally. How do you see two-wheeler stocks now?
So I believe that two-wheeler stocks will continue to do well. The reason being that Ola's IPO has put the two-wheeler EVs right into the face of the consumer. So now there is going to be a lot of more demand for electrical vehicles coming in. Secondly, about some 74 vehicles have been passed uh, by the government for domestic value added theme, and they all eye for PLI. So with this encouraging thing happening, and with 74 different models hitting the market, we are going to see the purchases of EVs pick up. Notwithstanding the cost of a EV vis-a-vis the ICE vehicle, and this is going to spearhead the sales trajectory of the listed ICE companies as the contribution of their EV space picks up, and the profitability is also going to improve, and we're going to see exactly the same thing play out what played out in Maruti, where the value from a small car going to a sedan vehicle, and with the same margins, the EBITDA growth is very, very high.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have the first pre-open trades. Just as the GIFT Nifty pointed out, it's a 70-80 point uptick on the Nifty. Now we have 24,927 on the board. Let's look at what is the contributing factor. I'm just very keen to see what Reliance is doing. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen, 55 rupees higher, 1.84%, 3,055. Remember, always in the run-up to its AGM, Reliance has appreciated on expectations of bounty for its shareholders. What else is buzzing? TCS. Today is, ladies and gentlemen, the 20th anniversary of TCS's listing. Just a very modest 33 times is what the stock has appreciated. We'll do a special show on this one. But 51 rupees higher, record high, 4,514. 3 bonuses, and of course, unlimited amount of dividend is what shareholders of TCS have enjoyed over the past 2 decades. We'll do a very brief uptick on this one a little later. Infosys in cohorts with TCS, 28 rupees higher, 1890. SBI 5 rupees 60 higher, 820, and HDFC Bank, the only laggard again, 8 rupees lower, 1617. We'll just pay attention to what is happening in the cash counters. KEC Limited, 920 for you, 9.5% higher. You have a strong move coming in Triveni Turbine, 2.5% higher, 748. What are the other stocks within the most active list which are showing strength? Okay, Gurgaon based Realtor Signature, 1540, 3.4% higher. Auto Ancillary Craftsman Automation, 6074, 3% higher. These are very high level stocks. Hindustan Copper, okay, 2.75% higher, 325. Let's look at what's happening in F&O. A couple of stocks I need to watch out. I'll request the PCR to fire BEL. This is something that needs to be watched. BEL will be entering the Nifty from September 30th onwards, 1.3% higher, 310. What are the other winners in F&O? RECL and Hind Copper, 2.4% uptick on RECL, 602. Birla Soft 2.3% higher. Tech Mahindra, Tata Consumer are all in the greens. The Nifty now appreciating a good 125 points up, 24,946. Remember, a lot of call writing is at this level, and you just might see a gap up being sold into by aggressive call writers and sellers, as also those people who may have taken long positions over the weekend in anticipation of the US federal move. So please do not chase this gap up, at least for the first half an hour of trade. So this is what the pre-open is. Let's get Sakshi into the conversation. Sakshi, what are you watching?
We should definitely watch trend that we've been discussing, Shell, all along. Of course, this is the stock that gets an entry into the Nifty 7,020 now, upwards and onwards, 1% higher in trade even today. Let's get Vineet into the picture. Vineet, both the BEL and Trent are up over 1% each with the Nifty inclusion starting from September 30th. More inflows to be coming in despite this 250% rally on Trent. Would you still be a buyer?
See, no investor worth his salt is going to sell Trent. You know, and that itself is going to create a scarcity of stock, and because of that you will see a strength fly with the least path of resistance. If you would like to play a proxy to trend, I think V2 Retail offers value. They've got their model figured out right, and that stock can really do well because its same store sales growth is crazy currently. They cater to the lower end of the market, and they're the poor man's Trent, if I may say so.
Okay. Right. Okay. We also have Vaishali with us. I think now. Okay, we'll be waiting by for Vaishali Parekh, Vice President Technical Research and Analysis at Prabhudas Leeladhar, also to share with us her views as well. But apart from this, Vineet, would you also care to give us a sense of how are you looking at the auto ancillary space as well, along with the two-wheelers which we've discussed with you? There's a lot of momentum unfolding within the ancillary space, especially the battery space as well. How are you looking at that space unfold, and what opportunities still exist for investors there?
So, the battery space offers you two levers of growth. One is obviously going to come from the auto EVs that, which we are seeing their market share and penetration to accelerate from here. And the second is the fact that for battery storage, which is so important, given the increasing contribution from renewable energy, which is not a peak load generator. So if you want to have a stable grid with increasing contribution of renewable energy, you also need battery storage for that. So given both these high energy guzzling demands, I think battery manufacturers are set to do extremely well.
Okay.
Vaishali is with us. Vaishali Parekh, Vice President Technical Research and Analysis at Prabhudas Leeladhar. A very good morning to you, Vaishali. We start the markets on an extremely positive note, thanks to expectations of now a definitive rate cut in September in the US markets. How do you see the Nifty from current levels, and any two top picks that you can share?
Very good morning, all of you. Yes, market is on a run, and I think we are still positive as far as the index is concerned. So 24,400 for the near term holds as a good support, and we would now be looking at 25,300 in times to come. And I think now it's time for private banking stocks also to participate. We are seeing some good spark coming in. Kotak Bank, IndusInd, HDFC is of course a laggard, but ICICI, Axis, they should participate. So as far as the topics are concerned, well, I would choose from mid caps right now. One is Samvardhan Motherson. That is what is quite promising as far as auto ancillaries is concerned. So I would say buy now, buy in decline 175 acts as a good support, and we would be looking at a positional target of 220. And for a near term, have a look at Tata Technology. Well, it has been seeing a lot of consolidation, and on Friday we saw a good bullish candle occurring at the support levels itself. So I would say the risk reward ratio is quite favorable at these levels. 980 would act as a support, and one can look for a positional target of 150 to start with.
Okay, got it. Good morning to you, Vaishali, and good to have you with us. Do tell us, how would you be really looking at two stocks, Trend and Reliance Industries, this week?
Hi, Sakshi. Good morning. So yes, trend has been very robust in its trend, and I think it is still showing strength. But I would be cautiously positive. Continue holding it with a trading stop loss if one is holding it, and if one needs to buy, then 6,700, 6,800 acts as a good support level. The view gets negated if 6,800 levels break. So for now, it is a hold, and one can look for a target of 72 to 7,400 levels right now. And as far as Reliance Industries is concerned, well, 2,900 would act as a near-term support. And once it sustains about 3030, this would be ready for a target of 3150 to 3200.
909, ladies and gentlemen, the pre-open has settled just as the gift nifty pointed out, an 80-point gap up on the nifty. Now 24,900, ladies and gentlemen, is with the bulls. Remember, there is very strong call writing at both 24,900 as well as 25,000. You just might see some kind of profit booking happening. The Nifty Bank is trying to open 170 points higher, 51,100, and there's a nice deep green tick on the Nifty IT index. Remember, it lost 400 points in trade on Friday. It's now up to 53, and this is also reflecting the very positive close that has seen on the Nasdaq over the weekend. As also the 20th year of TCS listing, this week we celebrate 2 decades of fantastic wealth creation. As I have mentioned earlier, the stock is up 33 times in 20 years. So you can well imagine the kind of pain that the markets have undergone over the last 2 decades, all sorts of problems, and here is a quality stock creating immense wealth for its shareholders. Let's get Vineet into the conversation. Vineet, at this level, we've seen pharma, FMCG, auto, and IT draw up the Nifty to current levels. Do you see some kind of sectoral rotation happening over the next 1 or 2 weeks, given that we have the monthly expiry, as also the beginning of the second half of the calendar year?
So, I expect pharma and FMCG to continue their dream run. Apart from this, I'm expecting banking as a contraplay to also start contributing to this. If you look at the NBFC space, I think, it is much ignored, and, you should be looking to nibble at Bajaj Finance also, because, all that you need to get from the company is a heads up that the credit costs are under control. Once you get to hear that, the growth story will automatically, the caution from Bajaj Finance will go away, and you will see the stock getting re-rated. Because if rural India and consumption is growing, and with ACs growing at 40% growth, as Amber has put it, I don't think Bajaj Finance is going to be left behind, because bulk of all these purchases are going to be financed by Bajaj. So I think Bajaj Finance as a play looks to be a very interesting theme from these current levels, and which Bajaj, housing slated for a listing in the coming few weeks. I think Bajaj Finance is definitely going to do well, because now the entire focus of the organization is going to be around consumption, given the fact that Bajaj Housing is a separate company by itself.
Okay, got it. We'll get Vaishali into the conversation. Vaishali, how are you looking at the entire IT space? Several of the stocks are now pulling up on the Nifty. Before the markets open, Tech Mahindra, Wipro, TCS, as was highlighted by Shail as well. And the IT index as a whole so far in calendar 2024 has also outperformed the Nifty, say by meager amount, about 2% higher. But where will you look at?
So I would say, of course, the frontline IT stocks, TCS, Infosys, they all have done well, but we have also recommended LTI, Mindtree, LTTS, in fact, Wipro again. All these frontline stocks, I would say, they are doing very well. So these are the stocks that we like right now. In fact, Persistent also continuing to be in its all-time high. So we continue to have a positive bias, but good buying strategy still cannot be ruled out in LTTS, Wipro. These are the stocks to my liking right now.
Right. Vaishali, a very quick view on pharma. Any mid-cap favorite on the long side that you still have in your radar, given the rally that has already happened?
So I would look at Morpen Lab. It's given a breakout even on a monthly chart. So long-term chart with that perspective, I think 70 would act as a good support, 65, 70, and this stock can go towards 100 levels. Besides that, well, I would still focus on frontline like Lupin and Cipla. They look quite promising from here on, even further.
Okay. Vaneet, how about you? Within the pharma space, there's also a new report by Jefferies which has initiated a buy on Emcure Pharma at 1600. The stock has shot up 2.5% in pre-open. What looks good to you within the pharma space, and would you look at an Emcure? Vineet, I think you're on mute.
No, I'm not on mute.
Now we could hear you. Yes, yes.
Yeah, we don't track MQR, so I will reserve my judgment on that. But my favorite is Markson's Pharma. I think they got their story figured out very well. It's a non-prescriptive drug. So, it's an OTC counter company gaining market share rapidly in the US. Their Teva facilities phase 2 expansion is well on track. And, I expect the company to deliver high teens top line growth with a stable EBITDA margin of 20-21%. And, if you were to take my word for it and hold this stock for another 3 years, you could have a multi-bagger on your hand. So we believe that the company is well placed. They have a lot of cash on their books. They're looking for acquisitions in Europe. And once they finalize the acquisition, you'll have another growth story happening across another continent. They've done very well in the regulated markets of US, England, UK, and Australia. So I expect them to do extremely well going ahead.
So we'll pencil Markson's Pharma against your name for the next 3 years, and Morpen Labs, as far as Vaishali is concerned. The markets are alive and ticking, ladies and gentlemen, on this lovely Monday morning. The Nifty now 58 points higher, 28,880. It's encountering selling pressure at 24,900. Bank Nifty in the green, 166 points higher. The Nifty 500, a good 0.25% up at 23,470. It's a very strong move on the IT index, 41,462, 380 points higher. Now let's look at the contributory factors on this one. TCS taking it away, the top performer in the super index heavyweight category, 47 rupees higher, 45.12. This is a record high. Infosys 8 rupees higher, 1869. HDFC Bank thankfully in the green, 12 rupees higher, 1637. I'll keep an eye out on Reliance in particular, 10 rupees higher at 3010. Let's look at stocks that are making news, and we'll focus on BEL and Trent. They will be a part of the Nifty from September 30th. You have BEL moving in strength about 0.1% higher at about 310, and Trent now consolidating above 7,011. We'll also look at two stocks that are moving out, which is Divi's Lab as also L&T Mindtree. Both of them are part of the Nifty as of now, both of them showing a bit of slippage coming into prices. This is what the main news is for the market. Now let's look at stocks which are moving in sync with news. Crude oil prices are high, therefore ONGC 1.6% higher, 324. What also is buzzing in trade is Bajaj Finance, a third of a percent higher, 67.71. What are the top gainers in NSE 500? Well, it's a muted start for the day. It's Tech Mahindra, ONGC that we've discussed, Hindalco 1.4% higher, 694. Remember, they've announced a very strong expansion plan worth $10 billion over the next couple of years. Let's get into conversation, Vaishali. I see a very strong uptick coming in metal counters led by National Aluminium, 2% higher, 176.55. Hindalco 1.6% higher. Vedant going strong. In fact, all 15 stocks in the Nifty Metals Index are in the green. Your favorite here after a successive round of beatings in the market. What looks good in the metal space, Vaishali?
I think fair value wise, I think, aluminium stocks have already done very well. But I think now time to look into Steel Authority also and Tata Steel. And besides that, even Hind Copper is to my liking because this stock has
IT all the way. The index is up by 1.3%, zooming ahead and taking it away. Tech Mahindra now 1.7% higher, top moving stock on the Nifty. You also have Wipro, TCS, Infosys rallying about 1% and over that in trade. Within the F&O space, you have Emphasis, that's 3.3% higher. Birla Soft follows, that's again up about 3%. Coforge is also higher in trade as well. So it's the IT flavor that's coming back into force. NIIT Limited, Shail, you had pointed out this stock on Friday as well. There's an 11% surge on NIIT Limited as well, which we need to mention as well. Let's get Vineet on board with the discussion on the IT space. Vineet, how are you navigating through the entire IT surge, and where would you keep your focus?
My focus would be purely on putting out IT as a trade for a short term and not looking to buy them from the long term point of view. NIT definitely has moved up really well. The trading space looks attractive, especially given that private banks are also deploying them using their services. So NIT looks good, but more from a IT point of view, I think Oren Pro, TCS, and the stocks like Infi are something that I would be looking to buy. My view on IT stocks remains cautious. Buy with a tight stop loss, and don't feel bad if your stop loss gets hit because whenever the US markets tank, they're going to suffer the worst.
Right. It's a strong uptrend across the board. 1,500 stocks are in the green, 633 are in the red. Business Today tracks 19 indices for you. Out of 19, 17 are in the green, led by the IT index, 1.4% higher. Remember, the index has 10 constituents and all 10 of them are sharply in the green. Metals index follows suit. It's the end of August expiry for the Nifty Mid Cap Select, 0.5% higher at 13,037. And it's going to be, Sakshi, a metals day. Hindustan Copper, 326. There is no stopping National Aluminium, 2.4% higher. Remember, they were beaten black and blue over the last 2 months or so, as also Hindalco. So a very strong trend coming into all sorts of metal stocks. What else is buzzing in early trade? Let's very quickly look at the all-time high list. Okay, there's so many of them. And from the pharma ancillary space, Polymedicure, 5% higher, 23.33. I remember a block deal happening at 1800 over the last 2 or 3 sessions. Motilal Oswal, Financial Services 736. This is a very underreported low float stock from the brokerage space, now doing 5.5% higher. Remember, this is post 1:1 bonus. What else is moving? Liquor company Radico Khaitan 1.9% higher, 1880 at a record high. And I'll just give you the names: Suven Pharma, Coal India, Indigo, Trent, Dixon, Deepak Fertilizers, all at record high. I think we need to pay attention to the pharma space. Mankind Pharma just taking it away, 2443. And amongst the top gainers are JB Pharma, 2.6% higher, Divi's Lab, a percent higher, 4905, Biocon and Nipka. A very quick one from you, Vaishali, your top metal stock in terms of charts and your top pharma stock. What looks good?
So, as far as metal stock is concerned, well, one is Tata Steel, as I mentioned. 155 is the current market price. I think it is very ready for a takeoff. Long consolidation, a brief consolidation at 150. So 150 should act as a support, and 160, 165 should be the near-term trading target. And Hindustan Copper is another stock which, as I mentioned, looks quite strong on charts, ready for a target of 340 to 360.
Okay. Another stock that we want to understand from you is Geo Financial Services as well. It's got the DEA note for a 49% foreign infusion. Stock is up by 1.7%. How would you really look at this?
I think there is a low downside risk in this stock, and one can accumulate this with the potential that a lot of businesses will get amalgamated into this venture. That is the only way of fast tracking the growth of this company. So nothing to lose from current levels.
Nothing to lose from the current levels. Let's get Vaishali on board. Vaishali, we did discuss ONGC, 2% higher now for this one, and the entire oil and gas space is also buzzing once again, be it the upstream majors or the downstream majors, and even the gas names as well. What looks good to you within the entire pack, and where would you continue to track momentum?
So I would say ONGC has been in a very good uptrend, and it should continue. I think it's ready for a new round of momentum coming in, because we saw a bit of a retracement till 320, and from there on we are seeing a bounce. So I think ONGC continues to be a positive view for a target of 340, 360 as a trading strategy, and 315 acts as a stop loss. And besides that, OMCs are doing very well. So well, the trend is intact. So my view is positive for the same.
Market spotting from both our analysts who had suggested. First of all, Markson's Pharma, record high, 5% higher, 238, and the very aggressive thought process that Vineet has, even from current record highs, he feels if you hold it on for 2-3 years, you'll see a multi-bagger return. We'll mark that. Morepon is something that Vaishali had highlighted, 3.35% higher, 83 rupees. Needless to say, this is also a record high. What else is moving? Vaishali had marked Tata Technologies. Let's show this price. Remember, this was one of the most aggressive listings that had happened in 2024. The stock sort of went downhill from 1300 rupees to around 990, and for the last 4 sessions post its analyst con call, it's now gathering steam somewhere like 1050. These are the 3 stocks that we've discussed upfront. Now, what else is buzzing in trade which needs to catch your attention? No stopping Tata Steel, 0.6% higher, 154.60. The other stock I need to mark is Ola Electric. Profit booking continues, 4% lower, 121. Let me just get Vineet on this stock, Ola. Vineet, what is a good entry level for you for Ola for the medium term?
I think a level of around 105 to 100 would be a very good level to enter into the stock. This stock, while appreciated very handsomely, I think it had overdone it on the upside. 145 was a 3-year target, which it did in like 8 days. And of course, this does not include the battery segment. We have not factored in the battery segment. So I think 105 or 108 is a good price to enter in for a 40 to 50% upside over the next couple of years.
Okay, got it. I think we haven't asked you, Vineet, on the Adani stocks at all today. So, first up, how would you look at Ambuja with GQG further raising the stake there and a lot of action that's unfolding in the cement space and overall in the group? Where are you looking at positively right now?
So, to address Ambuja first is the fact that Ambuja is sitting on a lot of capacity that is going to on stream from the current year, sorry, FY25. So we're going to see some very good volume growth come in. All cement companies have been cutting costs very aggressively, getting more green, and that bodes well for their margins. Cement pickup is also very good, and we've seen two aggressive price increases happen since the monsoon started. So that portends very well for the the busy season when it catches up once the monsoon is behind us. I think this stock can really do well. Apart from this, if you look at the Ambuja system, sorry, Adani Group, I think Adani Enterprise Solutions, Energy Solutions, uh, Adani Enterprises, and Adani Green are the three stocks that are going to do very well. The group has highlighted to the fact that their cash position is very strong. So they are immune from any kind of volatility and shocks as far as debt financing and repayment of interest are concerned. Most of their debts are back ended, so there is not much happening. We believe that the group as a whole can do around 100,000 crores of EBITDA going ahead over the next couple of years. And with that kind of volume growth coming in for the size that Adani Group is, I think we are just on the verge of something very big.
Fair point. With these fairly bullish comments on the energy space within Adani, it makes sense to keep them on your radar at least. Two stocks which Vaishali will comment on is ONGC, now reclaiming 21 EMA after a 5-6 day fall. This looks good given the bounce that you've seen in global crude oil prices, and of course, Oil India, all hell bent on reclaiming its all-time high, which was 714. Your favorite within the two, Vaishali, what are ONGC and Oil India telling you?
Well, so ONGC, I would say it is a good opportunity to re-enter. I mean, if one needs to get into the stock, because technically very well placed, trend is intact. Near-term support was 320, and it did a low of 317. So with a stop loss of 315, I would say buy for a target of 340 to start with. So this is one stock which I always track. And Oil India, of course, is doing very well, but I would wait for a little bit of a dip. Today also, the candle what we are seeing is a good showing a lot of strength. So I would say as an aggressive trader, 650 should be the support and look for a target of 750 to 780.
Okay.
Fair point. Let's get Vineet into the conversation. Vineet, before we let you go, we'll just show Marksons Pharma and V2 Retail as two top picks that you've highlighted for our viewers and investors for the medium to long term. Marksons at a record high. V2 Retail, let's just see what the price is coming in front of you. As he says, it's the middle incomes trend for shareholders. Okay, 1114 up 28 rupees. So Vineet, these two names I am penciling against you, and we'll keep an eye out on both. Sakshi.
Right. Well, thanks a lot, Vineet, for being with us on this show as well and sharing all your thoughts and ideas. Truly appreciate your presence with us. Another thing that Vaishali, we will ask you on. We did ask Vineet earlier on the new age internet space stocks. Today, one of those stocks is zooming ahead, and that's Honasa Consumer. 7% higher in trade at 501 odd levels. How are you looking at Honasa, and is there anything else you'd add to the list within the new age internet we need to track now?
So, Honasa, it's one of the trades today that we are seeing. It's very good, showing a lot of strength. But confirmation for further run up to come in, if we see the stock sustaining about 505, 508 levels. that could trigger further higher targets of 535. Besides that, as far as new age, if you are asking me, we have seen quite a few Nika and all doing well. But another stock to my liking is Paytm, that is, yeah, currently at 558. So now that it's getting gradually in an uptrend, I would say one can look for the stock as a buying opportunity near 500 levels. 500 would act as a support. And I think we would now, because it's sustaining above the 200-day moving average also, so that could go towards 600, 620 in that.
Okay, got it. The other space that Vaishali, you should share your views on is the entire capital markets related space. We've seen a lot of buzz over the last 1 week, 10 days odd on, say, stocks like CDSL, on BSE. Now, even Angel One again is up by 5% higher in trade today. How would you really navigate through these moves? Is there any momentum one should be tracking?
So yes, as you rightly said, I mean BSE and all are very gradual movers. I won't say as a trading strategy, but yes, looks quite buoyant. But if you look at Angel One and even Edelweiss, they both look quite strong from here on. Angel One just already in a trend and showing a lot of strength from here on also. So with 2550 as support, this stock can go towards 3000 levels to start with. And likewise, if you have a look at Edelweiss, that's also doing pretty well. I mean, it saw a good, decent amount of correction, and from there on, it's a one-way move. So, not a new buy right now, but given an opportunity, if it retraces, I think this stock can do very well because I'm looking at the weekly chart, it's given a breakout. Monthly chart also, it's the near-term resistance has been moved past like 187 was the resistance, and that's what we have seen. It's triggered a buy from there on also. So for a longer term perspective, I think these stocks should do well.
Yeah, Sakshi, I think we are going to have a blowout day today. 24,936 on the Nifty, and hold your breath. What is clicking? HDFC Bank, 1% higher at 1643. What is clicking? Reliance Industries ahead of its AGM later this week, 19 rupees higher, 3018. What is clicking positively? ICICI Bank, 4.2 rupees higher at 1207. And of course, there's no stopping TCS, there's no stopping Infosys. Let's just take a detour into what is contributing to this 114 point rally on the Nifty. HDFC Bank 20 points, TCS 15 points, Reliance 14 points, Infosys 12, and ICICI Bank 7.2. What will be of critical importance is the advance decline ratio for the Nifty. Okay, it is 32:18 as far as the advance decline is concerned, and it's a breakneck rally that is now happening. The Nifty is now negotiating 24,950. Let us see what happens. Today's low is 24,880, and over the last 20 minutes, it's been a nice upward journey. Vaishali, you've pointed out 25,300. Is today the day to get into it, or should we wait for a correction after 8 days of advance?
I think just let me have a look. I think no, one can buy near. Well, we are seeing a good gap up opening, so I would say just let's see for a retracement of 100 points at least, 24,800. That would be a good buying opportunity.
Got it. Well, apart from this, Vaishali, the other space that I'd like your view on is the consumer durable space as well. Are you looking at any interesting names within this space? There have been a whole host of move across the jewelry space last week around stocks like Kalyan, Titan. They've been the front runners as well. What looks good to you today? Of course, it's like Crompton, Dixon, Titan again, Kalyan. They are also again in the bus. What would look positive to you?
So, well, on the front line, of course, Titan, we are having a positive view and we have also recommended to our clients. But besides that, yes, even we had also recommended TBZ. So, all these, this sector on the whole looks good. And so my view stays positive, but I don't see a fresh buying opportunity right now. But to those who are holding, should continue holding these stocks. because I think these stocks can do further run up. In fact, we had also recommended Goldium, and the other stock which one can look into is Senco. Senco looks good. That can be considered. Goldium also is in its all-time high. So if given a chance in decline, one can look for a buying opportunity in all these stocks. And as far as consumer stocks are concerned, well, I'm looking at Tata Consumer since a very long time. I'm waiting for a breakout. So this is one stock to my liking. Along with that, even Godrej Consumers, and in FMCG, I would look at Britannia and Nestle.
Okay, got it. So that's the consumer durable space. All the stocks, all the sectors are up into the green, and FMCG is just flat with the negative bias. In fact, that's also now turning green. All the sectors now positive. India VIX is up by about 1.4%, but the gains are picking up pace across the board. IT index is definitely the front runner, 1.4% higher. Consumer durables follows 0.9% higher. Oil and gas, financial services, and even the small caps are doing well right now. Vaishali, anything that you'd like to pick within the small cap or the mid cap basket that one should track?
Well, not for now. Let's see. I mean, there's so many frontline doing, so my focus is more on that.
Okay, got that. And anything within the banking space or the financial services space, this index is also now picking up pace now?
So yes, I am tracking Axis Bank, which is quite fairly placed. I mean, uh, we've seen the stock corrected and taking support near the 200-day moving average. So I would say currently it's at 1172. Once we see a pickup, this stock can go towards 1250, 1300 levels. And likewise, even IndusInd Bank, which has been quite a laggard, technically very well placed. This is another stock for a positional trade, looks promising.
Sakshi, there's no stopping the Nifty. Now 140 points higher, 24,963. It's a conclusive breakout that is happening. Let's just look at it from the point of view of the broader chart. Of course, 8th day of advance. And if you look at August 2nd, which I believe was a Friday, this was the beginning of the unwinding of the yen carry trade. So the high on that day was 24,851. What is critical is to see the low of the all-time high, that is 24,956 on August 1st. So that, ladies and gentlemen, has now been taken out, and we are how much about 50 points away from 25,000, and of course 150 points away from an all-time high. So ladies and gentlemen, please tighten your seatbelts and get ready for a fantastic uptick. The Nifty futures have already climbed beyond 25,000, which is 25,010, up about 150 points. So you can see what the market is now thinking. They are trading at a premium of about 35 points to cash. So that's a very, very positive development. And across the board, Sakshi, all sectors are, as you've rightly mentioned, clicking in the green. Let's just take a detour into the PSU basket. This is of course a very high beta. Dredging Corporation, 3.3% higher, is the top performer, 917. I have mentioned metals really in the upfront, as also the two oil explorers. So Hind Copper 3% higher, Oil India 2.5% higher, ONGC 2.2% higher, and then you have a whole host of stocks doing pretty good. Hindustan Zinc in the green, 1.5% up, RECL, Bama Lorry, National Aluminium, all buzzing with gains. Let's look at what defense is telling us. Okay, Zentech 4.5% higher, 1869. No stopping this one. They have 1,000 crore QIP open. A very strong move coming into BDL. Remember, Bharat Dynamics is also an entry into the FTSE All World Index. So that is a bit of positivity. There is a number of times that Hindustan Copper has come on my screen. This needs to be checked. Vaishali, what are the charts of Hind Copper telling you? I have 326 on my charts. What are your indicators indicating?
Well, so in copper, we have recommended already to our clients. I would say that this stock looks quite positive from here on. We have seen the stock making a high. The recent high was at around 400 levels. From there, we saw a good dip, taking a support at 200-day moving average again on a takeoff. So now it is above the cluster of moving averages that we are looking at. So technically, about 328, 330, this would be ready for a run up to once again have a retesting of 350, 380 targets to start with. So I would say it's a buying opportunity right now.
Okay, it's a buying opportunity right now. Several sub pockets also buzzing in trade today. So there are some moves across the tobacco, tea, coffee space. Godfrey Phillips up 6%. We have VST Tillers, Dinseri Tea, Jayashree Tea, all of them buzzing. Then there is also this paper stocks that are also buzzing higher. Malu Paper is up 5%. Genus Paper, Star Paper. You also have Astron Paper. All of them buzzing in trade as well. Within these smaller sub pockets, anything that looks good to you, Vaishali?
Well, so paper stocks, I am tracking at West Coast Paper. So these are the
Okay.
stocks I am tracking. So I would be bullish on West Coast Paper. But well, right now on a near-term basis, we would see a resistance coming at 650. Let's see once it moves past that, then we can have a look.
Okay, and we have it even for once tracked the defense and the railway space today. So we'll ask you, Vaishali, are these going to be chugging along, or is it going to be an extended pause for these two spaces which have been the outperformers of the past?
So I would say, as far as defense counter is concerned, we've seen a good run up and now again retraced quite a bit. So again, time to cherry pick as maybe an SIP. Right now, we don't see any momentum coming in, but once again, good chance of accumulating Masgao docs, etc. So these are the stocks which look promising from here on. And as far as rail is concerned, well, Jupiter Wagon, all these are once again in a sweet spot for a new round of momentum to start with. So I would say yes, it's time to start accumulating these again.
Okay, Sakshi, what also looks good is the Nifty. Now we have 24,980 with us. This is a very strong bout of short covering that is also happening. Let's get into the index constituents as far as the FNO is concerned. I'd just like to see where build-up is happening in terms of how prices are moving in sync with the market. Okay, just a moment please. It takes me a little while to sort of tweak the software to reflect what I'm looking at. Okay, this will take a little bit more, and just a moment please. Okay, we've discussed a lot of these stocks. Let me just look at the Nifty group in particular. Give me a while, but in the meanwhile, what's clicking is Wipro, and this is something that Vaishali has already highlighted. 2% higher, 524. Vaishali, what are Wipro's charts telling you?
So, well, Wipro took a beating post its results, I think, and once again now in a process of making higher bottom, higher top formation. So, I would say this too looks quite appealing to me, technically very well placed. 530 is the near-term hurdle. So, once we see a stock closing above this, I think it's ready for a target of 580 to 600. So, my view stays positive with a stop loss of 500.
Okay, no matter how much caution we advise on Trent, this is cocking a snook at all sensible, how should I say, valuations, and in our terminology, भाव भगवान है, उसको सलाम करना अति आवश्यक. आपके सामने 7,064, 1.5% higher, celebrating the entry into the Nifty around September 30th. Needless to say, this is a record high, and needless to say, I'm just marking the stock, not taking a technical view, because it really looks overstretched. 51,295, ladies and gentlemen, on the Nifty Bank futures. In cash, they are 300 points up, and the IT index is 631 points up, 41 738. Sakshi and I and everybody else could not have asked for a better start to Monday. Sakshi.
Absolutely. The one more stock that we need to ask Vaishali and draw everyone's attention is from the PSU pack, BHEL. It's bagged a huge order worth 11,000 crores. It's 3 orders put in one, and this is from Adani Power and its subsidiary for 2 of the critical thermal plants in Madhya Pradesh and in Rajasthan. And BHEL stock, if we look at right now, we will be able to see that BHEL has shot up in the last few minutes of trade. How are you looking at BHEL right now at 300 odd levels, and what would this order mean now, Vaishali?
So I would say, well, stock long-term trend as always intact. But for today, I mean, if you ask me with today's low as stop loss, this can be looked into. 305 should be the near-term target. Above 305, the trend gets even better for a target of 320. So for an intraday perspective, I would look at 305.
Okay, got it. So that's BHEL for you, and that's the kind of move that we are seeing across the board. There is sharp pullback, pull forward. If you look at IT stocks, I mean the index is now up 1.6%, further moved up in trade. Oil and gas is now up 0.8%. You have financial services up 0.7%, consumer durables 0.7% higher, banking names full throttle right now, and it's clearly all across the board where you're seeing sharp moves. Even the PSE index, the Public Sector Enterprises Index, is now up by about 0.7% in trade. Oil India, ONGC, Steel Authority, BHEL, Power Grid, REC, NTPC, NHPC, these are the spaces that are buzzing. What looks good within the power space, Vaishali, to you right now?
So I think, HBL Power looks good from here on. So also is the case with, if you have a look at GMR Power, that is also in a strong uptrend. So I think GMR Power stock is doing very well, and I think this is ready for a target of 140 to 145. So these two stocks look good, and Tata Power always a buy at these levels.
Sakshi, I think it's trending out to be a nice day within the Tata Group. Let me mark the stocks which are doing fantastically well. Of course, Vaishali started with Tata Steel. That's doing a phenomenal job as far as markets are concerned. That's mainly because of a very strong rally that is coming into prices. What also is doing very well is TCS, as I have pointed out. It's celebrating its 20th year of listing. Some fortunate shareholders remain in that uptick. It's up 33 times since August of 2004. And remember, this was India's first $1 billion IPO, which actually did not get much attention. It was just oversubscribed 3-4 times. And till 2009, TCS was around its IPO price. From then on, it's not looked back at all, and has given 3 bonuses for long-term shareholders and created immense wealth in its dividend payout as well. So TCS, Tata Steel, Trent, Tata Elxsi, and what else was buzzing in the green from the Tata stable? Tata Communications, and of course Tata Consumer. So across the board, there is a bit of a rejoicement that's happening on the Tata Group. And HBL Power, change of digit, 706 for you, ladies and gentlemen. Needless to say, this is a record high. Sakshi.
Right, absolutely. Let's again look at some of the other moving parts in the market. We are just about 9 minutes away from the morning session's close, and it seems like we could be looking at 25,000 today. Fingers crossed. Vaishali, could it happen?
Yes, well, we are quite close to that. So yes, we are hoping for that.
Okay, got it. All right. Vaishali, let me bring up to you some interesting stocks within the F&O space today, then, which are clicking up. How are you looking at stocks like, say, India Mart Intermesh? That's up 2.8%. Is there a move that one should be looking at there?
Just have a look.
Sure. It's trading at 2940 at the current levels within the FNO space, up 2.8%.
So, well, India Mart, I think yes, quite likely. But we've already seen a 2% run up right now. So I would say 2850 acts as a support, and gradually this can go towards 3150.
Okay, got it. And what about Hindustan Copper? That moves up even 3.5% higher. It's the top moving stock in the FNO space today.
My positional target continues to be 340.
Okay, got it. We'll continue to track that for you. It's a good day, viewers. IT index is further higher by about 1.7%. Beyond Wipro and LTI Mindtree, the stocks that you've discussed, Vaishali, would you add any more names to the list?
As I spoke to you about LTTS also and HCL
Yeah,
Tech,
yeah.
they are also already in a trend. So these are the stocks that one can look into.
Okay, got it. The PSU index is now up by about 0.7%, and from the railways pack, it's IRCTC that's pulling up 0.6% higher in trade. You also have a Concor that's up by about 0.7% higher in trade. Vaishali, how are you looking at IRCTC now? I believe you have been tracking it for far too long. There was a time when you were recommending it when the stock was on an up move, and then therefore there was a long pause. What next for IRCTC?
So right now it is, well, indicators, we are seeing that it's trying to bounce back from its oversold zone. So I would say for near-term basis, the support lies at 920. And I think if the stock moves above 940, 945, we can see the stock bouncing towards 1000 levels. So that's how I would look at IRCTC for now.
9:54, ladies and gentlemen. We are in a wonderful, wonderful uptrend. The Nifty now pausing between, say, 24, 960 and 980, probably taking some breath, and then aiming first at 25,000 and subsequently at 25,075, which is the all-time high. This is the 8th day of advance. Should the market close in the positive, then we have better days ahead. Remember, 8 is also a Fibonacci number. The markets generally turn from such events and such days in the reverse direction. But if they continue, then the rally gets bigger and bigger. Only at 3:30 p.m. will you know how the Nifty has panned out. But for the moment, there is hardly anything wrong that Sakshi and I can point out for you. ICICI Bank, this needs to be checked. Vaishali, 1210. I believe this is now again near its all-time high. What are the charts of ICICI Bank telling you in the medium term?
So in the medium term, I think this is getting in the trend, and 1180 acts as a support, and this stock can go towards 1240 for now.
Okay, 1254 is the all-time high that we saw happening on 11th of July. Like I said, the counter has been in an uptrend for the last 4 sessions and is doing good. Sakshi has already marked Edelweiss 7.6% higher, 113.40, and it is not only Edelweiss that is doing phenomenally well in the AMC broker list. We have Angel One 3.5% higher, IIFL Securities 2.7% higher, IIFL Wealth, my apologies, 2.7% higher, Geojit Financial Services 3.2% higher. Within the AMC pack, you have a strong move coming into HDFC AMC, UTI AMC and NAM India. What is also coming back into focus is CAMS. Remember, we have had last week of a very fabulous rally in CDSL. CAMS at 2.2% higher, 45.45. Vaishali, before we let you go, what are the charts of CAMS telling you? Is it headed for an all-time high?
Yes, very likely, because very strong trend. Volume needs to pick up, but the way it is showing strength, I think gradually this will go towards 4900 to 5000 levels.
Okay, got it. Vaishali, we will thank you on that note for being with us on this very special trade and helping us navigate through these strong moves with your stocks and strategies as well. And hopefully, we are going to be seeing that 25,000 mark today. We're very close to that, 24,984. Time to now start to wrap up this morning edition of Market Today. 160 points higher, no complaints whatsoever within the Nifty or the Nifty Bank. The Nifty Bank is also soaring higher, 315 points up at 51,250, 0.6% high in trade for the Nifty Bank. All the sectors of the Nifty viewers are up into the green, led by the strong move in the IT pack that's up by 1.7% in trade. And we are seeing most of the stocks right here within the IT pack up into the green. I think all of them are now up into the green. Yes, if you see Emphasis, Persistent from the Ogoforge, Birlasoft from the mid-cap space, or even the large cap space, so Wipro, Tech Mahindra, Infosys, TCS, these are all buzzing. LTI, Mindtree as well, buzzing in trade. And how? Consumer durables index is up by 0.7%, financial services index, oil and gas, banking space as a whole, the broader markets also, the mid cap is up by about 0.6%, small caps up by 0.5% as well. Even the PSE index is now up by 0.8%, led by moves within Oil India. Stock is up 2.7%. ONGC, Steel Authority, Power Grid, BHEL, REC and TPC are the top runners. On the Nifty, the top 5 movers are Wipro, ONGC, LTI, Mindtree, Bajaj Finserv, TCS and Tech Mahindra. On the downside, we do have some stocks, about 10 odd stocks that are lower in trade. Hero MotoCorp sees some profits being shaved off, 0.7% lower. Grasim, Bajaj Auto, Ultratech Cement, BPCL and Adani Ports remain lackluster at this point in time within the markets. F&O space again, we are seeing a lot of buzz within the IT pack. Birlasoft, Hindustan Copper, you have Emphasis, Persistent and India Mart Intermesh as the top winners. Within the losers, you have Zydus Life today, 4% lower in trade. There are some sell ratings within brokerage houses that have come in. Citi came out with a sell call here with a target price of 890. The stock is hovering at 1130. LIC Housing Finance, Interglobe Aviation seeing some profits being taken off in the F&O space, 1.9% lower in trade. Anything else, Shail, that you need to highlight?
Yes, 24,997 is what you've seen on the Nifty for a very, very brief flash of a second, and the strength continues. Actually, I just figured out why did the market move with such grace and speed. Well, it's Krishna Janmashtami. What else do you expect? हमारी थी अर्जी कि 25,000 दिखे, बाकी कृष्ण जी की मर्जी. अब थोड़ी ही देर में आपको बहुत अच्छा मोमेंटम आता हुआ दिख ही रहा है. Let's hope the Nifty consolidates for a while, and today we see a close above at least 24,950, and if the grace is eternal, then of course 25,000. Sakshi and I will take leave now, but news continues on other side of this break, and the markets are in fine shape on Krishna Janmashtami.
We are currently at a school in Kiev, Ukraine, and in this school there are a number of young students who study Hindi. They're learning the Hindi language, and look at the books that they're reading here. Ras Bharti Hindi Pathya Pustak, Sachitra Hindi Vyakaran Tatha Rachna. So what they're learning, and this is class 4 and class 5 Hindi that these school students are learning. It's indeed a pleasure to talk to some of these students, and come, let me take you and introduce you to some of these students. आपका क्या नाम है?
My name is Lata.
आपका नाम लाता है. लाता, आप कब से हिंदी सीख रही हैं? हिंदी